Hi, this instructional video is about solving equation. Solving two-step equation. No, we're not talking about some country dancing here. Two steps. For example, number one, we have 2x plus 8 is equal to 16. So what they're asking you is, what should the x be? So that if you multiply 2 and then added 8 would become 16. And here's another way to look at it. If some of the kids were using mental math, they'll say, hey, what plus 8 is 16? And you'll say, well, that's 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. And then the second question is, well, then 2 times what is that 8? And you'll say, well, x is 4. And that'll be correct. But now, how do you show that algebraically? Algebraically. And this is what I tell my students to say. You, get out.
You, get out.
And you, get off my back.
You, get off my back.
So what does that mean? Since it's a two-step, we had to get rid of the 8. You, get out. And to make the 8 move away from the 2x, we take the opposite of plus 8, which is minus 8. And whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do it to the other. So as a result, 8 and minus 8, their additive inverse, they become 0. So all that remains on the left side of the equation is 2x. And on the right side, 16 minus 8 is 8. And what did I do to get this point? I subtracted. So this is called subtraction property of equality. That's step 1. And now, well, 2 times what is 8? Well, we know it's 4. But to show algebraically, we do the inverse of multiply. This one says 2 times x. So we're going to go divide that 2, the coefficient. And whatever you do to the left side, you have to do to the right side. So the 2 and the 2 denominator, they simplify to become a 1. And so all that remains on the left side is 1x, or simply x. And of course, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that's the answer. And how did I get from here to there? This time we divided the coefficients, so we go division property of equality. And you see, it required 2 steps to solve this equation, and that's why we call it solve the equation two-step equation. Now, it says to check your solution. So to check, we're going to take that x, which is 4, and substitute it back into the original equation and evaluate. So 2 times x, which is 2 times 4, plus the 8, is equal to 16. So 2 times 4 is 8. And does 8 plus 8 equal 16? Well, let's see. 8 plus 8 is 16. And if the left and the right is same old, that means that x is equal to 4 is a correct solution. So now, why don't you try numbers 2, 3, and 4? Go ahead. All right. So in this case, you get out.
You, get out.
So how do you make the minus 6 or negative 6 move out from the 6x? We add 6 to both sides of the equation. And unlike last time where we used subtraction property of equality, now we're using addition property of equality. So as a result, on the left side, negative 6 and positive 6, their additive inverse, they become 0. So all that remains is just 6x. And on the right side, 12 plus 6, well, you know what that is. That's 18. Now, you already know the answer, but you got to be patient and use the algebraic properties. What is the algebraic property that will solve for x now?
Get off my back.
Yes, you have to divide the coefficient 6 to both sides. So you are using a thing called division property of equality. So as a result, x on the left side equals 18 divided by 6, which is 3. And that will be the correct answer. But to check it, we're going to take that x, which is 3, and substitute it back into the original equation x. So 6 times 3 minus a 6. Does that equal 12, I hope? 6 times 3 is 18 minus 6 is equal to 12. And 18 minus 6 is, in fact, 12. Same old. We're all good to go. X equals 3. Number 3. Were you scared because the x was on the right side of the equation? All right. But you have to be very careful. you have to move the constant 16 away from the x. So we have to move it to the left side this time. And how do you move a 16?
Get out.
Minus 16 to both sides of the equation. And since I am minusing it, this is called subtraction property of equality. So on the right side, 16 and its additive inverse, negative 16, they become 0. All that remains is a 5x on the right side. And on the left, 31 minus 16, well, that's going to be 15. And to solve for x, we're going to take that 5,
Get off my
and
back.
we're going to divide 5 to both sides of the equation. So we're going to call it division property of equality. So the coefficient 5 simplifies the denominator 5. So that becomes 5 over 5 is 1. So that's just 1x, or simply x. And 15 over 5, they reduce to become 3, because 5 times 3 is 15. That's the answer. And to check it, take it back and substitute it into the original equation x. So 31 is equal to 16 plus 5x. Oh, I forgot. So 31 is equal to 16 plus 5 times 3. So 16 plus 15. And 16 plus 15 is, in fact, 31. Left and right is same old, same old. So that's a good answer. And finally, the last one. Did you say add 12 to both sides? That's right. So you add 12 to both sides of the equation. So addition property of equality. So negative 12, positive 12. They cancel each other out. They become 0. So all you're remaining is 7x on the left. And 16 plus 12 is 28. And how do you solve for x now? You're going to take that 7 coefficient and do the inverse of multiply. So we're going to divide 7 to both sides. So 7 and 7 simplifies. And you use the division property of equality. So therefore, x is equal to 20 divided by 7 is 4. To check it quickly, 7 times 4 minus 12 is 16. Is that right? 7 times 4 is 28. And 28 minus 12 is 16. 16 equals 16 on the right. That's the good answer. And that's how we do it here. All right.
Get out.
I'm out of here.
I go out to that old honky tonk with my cowgirl to the core. Well, I'm dance two-step, do-si-do, hell, our feet might get sore. Baby, you and me dance all night long, right here on this floor.